Hello everyone, my name is Shanae Jones and this is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. I am your resident certified sex coach and we are here to talk about the 5 love languages. I already posted a video about words of affirmation, which is one of the 5 languages. And so what we're going to do is we're going to break up and talk about each one of the love languages in a little bit more depth, so I don't have to hold you for 30-40 minutes to talk about the whole thing. So wait for here. So the 5 love languages, if you have not heard of it, is a book that was written by Dr. Gary Chapman in 1995. So it's been out for over 20 years, and there are a lot of people who have identified with some of the characteristics that are found in the book. So just to recap, the 5 love languages are words of affirmation, physical touch, receiving gifts, quality time, and acts of service. So we talked about words of affirmation, so we're going to move on to physical touch. Now, with physical touch has different levels to it. There is something in my studies called a touch continuum. What that means is that touch can start off at a very basic, very innocent manner. So for instance, there are people who love to hug, love to kiss. Even they like to cuddle with their partners at night, where they're spooning throughout the night even. And then there's regular physical contact. Someone's always touching you, or you always feel that you're being touched. So if that's the case, you're probably dealing with somebody who is a physical touch, where their love language is physical touch. It's important to keep in mind though that physical touch has to be acceptable. It has to be within the comfort level of the person receiving the touch, more so than giving the touch. So there is an aspect of consent that falls into physical touch. So we all are aware that there is molestation and all kinds of other terrible things that happen to people. So that is not what I'm referring to in this regard. What I'm talking about is having touch between 2 individuals that makes them feel in a good place. So people that are prone to physical touch, they really have to be careful, especially let's say in the workplace. So if you're a hugger or a toucher, you really have to be careful that you're not imposing yourself on someone in a way that they are not comfortable with, in a way that is not acceptable to them. Even when you're in a relationship, you have to be cognizant of how that person, your partner perhaps, is feeling based on their mood at the time, their situation, what's going on in their surroundings. You have to have that awareness about you to make sure that your touch is appropriate. So I'll give you a personal example. My boyfriend is very physical touch person, and 99% of the time I love it. I am receptive of it. We're simpatico when it comes to it. There is that 1% of the time where if I am bent over and I'm trying to pull a dish out of the cabinet, or trying to pull something out of the refrigerator, and he comes in and smacks my ass, I'm like, dude, you just saw me. I was just doing something. What are you doing? So it happens that there are moments where I'm not as receptive to his physical touch, but that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy it most times. You have to be communicative to your partner about where you are, so that they know whether or not what they are giving you is something that you are going to welcome, something that you're going to enjoy. that type of interaction could really, depending on the situation and the people, kind of coincide with a miscommunication about what the intent of the touch was. So if, for instance, I get smacked on my butt and I'm thinking, oh, he wants to have sex, but I have to finish washing dishes and I have to do all these other things, which is not an excuse to permanently let your situation go. But in that immediate instance, it might be something where you just cannot give your 100% focus. It happens to the best of us. But when you are having, or you feel like you're having, a miscommunication about what touch means, it's more important then to open your mouth and have a conversation about what touch is intended to mean. So earlier I mentioned that there is such a thing as a touch continuum, and what that means is that touch happens on different levels. So the first level of touch is healing, where you're sad or you've had a long day and you just need that hug, that embrace to kind of make you feel like, I feel better. Someone's being affectionate and holding me. It's a healing hug. Then it goes to more affectionate touch, where perhaps we're talking about a kiss, where it's lip to lip, maybe a little tongue. It's that the intentions of this person is not just in the friend zone, perhaps. Then you have sensual touch. Sensual touch is where we start talking about massages and more passionate kisses, where you're doing like a big French kiss. You got tongues and saliva exchanging. It happens. Then you have where we're going into the erotic touch. And this is where, maybe over clothes, you're touching her breast, or, more sensual touch of the butt, or, you're massaging his penis outside of his pants. It's erotic, but it's not sexual. So, leading to the last one, sexual touch. Sexual touch is when we're talking about intercourse, when we're talking about anal sex and oral sex, the types of sex that we can have. This is sexual touch. Even masturbation is sexual touch, because your goal is to have sexual feelings and sexual pleasures. So sexual touch is that last, the end of the spectrum. So what happens when touch people don't get the kind of touch and affection that they want? So if they're touch people and they're touching you all the time, but you're not reciprocating, you're not giving them what it is that they need. Touch behavior. So for instance, if you're used to dealing with somebody who's being touched all the time, when it stops, when it changes, especially when it changes. So it's a difference completely if you're just you've never done it, and that's not who you are as a person. But if you were a touchy-feely person and then all of a sudden you're not a touchy-feely person, then people start to question, well, he used to do this or she used to do this. Why doesn't he do it anymore? Why doesn't she do it anymore? It starts to build questions in your head about the status of your relationship. So just make sure that you know the type of person that you're dealing with, and make sure that you are feeding into their love language. So touch is important, but touch requires consent. Touch requires being aware of the mood and the situation at the time that you are trying to be physical. Touch can mean, something as simple as a gentle caress or full-blown getting down and dirty. So just understand that you have to be mindful of who you are, where you are, what you're with, and who you're with, and what situation you're in that makes that touch appropriate. So again, I am Shanae Jones. This is KNKY, which stands for Know the New Kinky You. Look out for 3 additional videos, because we have 5 love languages and 2 are down. So we will be talking again. And don't forget to listen to the live broadcast on Wednesdays on Instagram, and subscribe to YouTube, which is everything across social media is at DOYOUKNKY. Even the website is doyouknky.com. I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in.